Great pleasure to be with you here today. So my name is Samuel Pires. I'm a product manager at PrestaShop, and with me today is Michel from H1 Agency. And as you can guess, we are going to talk today about the PrestaShop 1.7 version and how to successfully migrate from the 1.6. And I guess from what I saw in the register list, many of you are on the 1.6. So I guess today you will get a lot of information to plan for the next move and probably go to PrestaShop 1.7. Okay. Very good. Okay, well, I guess we can start. It's time. Okay, so welcome everyone. So just a bit of information on how it's gonna happen, how we're gonna work on this webinar. So as I said, first we're going to talk about PrestaShop 1.7 a bit, and then we're going to talk about the migration. And then at the end, we keep 15 minutes to answer your questions. So you can see on your interface, we go to webinar interface, you've got a question bubble on the right. You can write your question. If you have question during the webinar, you can start typing the question, and at the end, we will review all the questions so we can answer them. We'll try to answer as much as we can in the time we have available.
And the other ones we just respond afterwards, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. We'll still check and answer them. Okay, let's go. So I introduce myself. I let Michel introduce himself.
Yes, I'm Michel Willems. I'm co-founder of H1 Web Development. We are a PrestaShop agency in the Netherlands, and we work for all kind of customers, also very small merchants, but also big corporate organizations like Unilever and Mercedes-Benz. It's good to know that Unilever has a web shop based on PrestaShop 1.7. We mainly work for companies in the Netherlands and Belgium, and sometimes also in Germany. I won't bore you too much with who we are because we're going to talk about 1.6 and 1.7. But just be sure to know we're 30 people or almost 30 people, a lot of Symfony developers in the house, so we can really help you. Most important is we like to have a long-term relationship, not only in normal life or with PrestaShop, but also with our clients. And our end goal is always, well, what can we do to make you an online market leader? Enough about H1.
Okay, so let's go. Let's talk about 1.7. 1.7 has been out for a couple of years now, different versions. Today, we are on the 1.7.6. That's the latest version we released. It was released this summer. And we're happy to have 100,000 stores on 1.7. That's a bit more than 35% of PrestaShop, including all the versions. So that's pretty good. And good news, the 1.7.7 will be available soon. So today, I want to talk a bit more about 1.7 if you're 1.6 users, you know the 1.6. 1.7 is an evolution on 1.6, the 1.6. But of course, there are many changes under the hood in the technical part, but also on the feature side. So I will give you some details so you can really understand what is the mindset we have when we work on 1.7 and what we try to achieve with this version. So first, I think it's important to remind everyone that PrestaShop 1.7 has pillars. We have pillars that we always have, like it's really about mindset, about how we prioritize our work, the main topic for us. You can see on the slides, openness and flexibility have always been part of the PrestaShop DNA. We are an open source project. Our mission since day one was to be able to offer a solution to merchants that allow them to build the website that they need, to customize it so they can really achieve what they want to do and their goal. What's different in 1.7 and 1.6 is what you can see, the new pillars. Our really focus for this version is about stability, growth, and productivity. And as merchants, you will see this will impact you a lot. I don't know if you've already tested 1.7. If not, you will see. I'll show you some features that we developed in the past version and that we will release soon.
Yeah, just a question, because it is always good to see that there is a kind of vision. There are pillars, and you build it based on those, well, base values or company values even. But what does it actually mean? What do you do with it in practice in 1.7?
Yeah, well, that's what I want to show you, because today it's something that we have in mind every day. And so what is interesting is that already now you can see how it translates into the software. So to start, we can talk about maybe technical aspects. I guess not everyone in this webinar is technical, but I think it's still important to understand what powers the software PrestaShop. I would talk about two of our values, our pillars, stability and openness and community. Let's see first. We developed with 1.7 a new technology in what we call the backend. Really, it's the code, all the technical side. We wanted to make merchants able to go further with this new version. So that's why maybe you have heard about it, we launched a Symfony migration. I won't go too much into details, but for you to know, it means that all the technical aspect, all the code and how the software is built now uses the latest technologies. Why did we do that? It's to be able to have stronger and more stable stores, to have better performance, to be able to manage bigger catalogs, and also to have a better experience for developers who work on the software, so they can build better stores with this solution. We also integrated more tests before releases. What does that mean is that before we release a new version, 1.7.7 for instance, we add automatic tests. So we test a lot the software to be sure there is no bugs anymore. What this allows us to do is that when we release a version, it's really stable, it's ready to use in production. So we know that merchants, when you want to do your upgrade, go to a new version, you won't have many problems. It's going to work, and your developers, your agencies, everything will be able to work on it directly. The goal behind that is, as I wrote, to have a better developer experience, better quality, of a more robust software, and to be able to build better stores. I don't know in H1 if you could experience all these new technologies and what you think about that.
Well, Symfony is the reason that we became PrestaShop partners. So we are very happy that there was a Symfony migration. Yeah, I think it's really tending to the latest state of the art, well, almost cutting edge technology. If PrestaShop wouldn't take these steps, we wouldn't be a partner. So we are very happy with it. And it's great that there are all those tests. Obviously, there will always be bugs.
Yeah.
Don't worry, but we fix them.
Yeah.
That's good about the open source software, that we all work on it together.
Yeah, and that's you're talking about open source, and that's perfect, because that's the second pillars of PrestaShop. The bigger one is that we are an open source project. So, oh wait, I didn't talk about performance. Just to complete performance, here you can see a benchmark that's been made by our not our, but a partner's developer in Argentina. He did some tests, some benchmark about loading time on PrestaShop 1.6 that had been optimized, and 1.7 that has just been installed without optimization. You can see the scores on the 1.6. Loading time is pretty big. It takes some time. Maybe you experience that sometimes on your stores. With the PrestaShop 1.7, you can see that time to load the pages are way shorter. We got better rankings. So that's just an example of the, as Michel said, the improvement that has been brought by Symfony.
Yeah.
Symfony
and it's good to mention that in this test, the 1.6 was optimized and then 1.7 was not optimized, isn't it?
Exactly. So which means that the scores you see on the PrestaShop 7 are the scores that you get when you just do a fresh install, and you haven't to work a lot on it to achieve already great great rates in performance. Let's go to open source now. We started talking about that. Open source, it means that, I guess you're all familiar with that, but our software is open, which means that everyone in the community, merchants, developers, can act on the software. They can work with us on developing the software, improve it, and like it could be on translation, it could be on development, it could be anything. Of course, it has always been part of PrestaShop, but for the past year and a half, we really wanted to improve that. So what we did is that we redesigned all the processes around open source. So we moved to a new tool that is called GitHub. Maybe if you don't know it, it's not a problem. It just means that now everything is transparent. Everyone can see what we work on. The roadmap is on this tool. Developers from all around the world are on this tool. They can collaborate with us. We can talk with agencies directly on this tool. So that's really great for us, and I think that's one of the reasons that we were able to work to bring so much value in PrestaShop 1.7. Another thing we worked on is the events. We have now 11 events worldwide. We have PrestaShop days in 5 continents now. We also have smaller events in different countries. PrestaShop Connect. So I will share a link about events at the end. There's probably, and I'm sure there's in Europe, there are a lot of events. There's also the events about ambassadors. So people working locally to help merchants on PrestaShop. Open source is also great for translation. Now we have more than 40 languages available directly when you install PrestaShop, thanks to the community. Everything here is thanks to the community. And we can see already a lot of results. Here it's still a bit technical, but it gives you an idea. On the left figure, you can see how many pieces of code that had been added to the PrestaShop versions. You can see that 1.7.2 had a lot of code added, but now thanks to the community, we're able to deliver a lot more every time we do a new release. And you can see for the 1.7.6, the latest version, we have, like, it's an all-time record for PrestaShop. We never had so much code added into a new version. And you can see on the right, contributors. You can see that it's the same 1.7.6. We never had so many contributors helping us working on the software. So what we like about that is that PrestaShop is really active. We have, you can see, growing parts of new contributors. So people who didn't work on PrestaShop before and now spend some of the time, free time, to help us make a great software. And now we're happy to say that we have more than 1 million members in our community, developers, agencies, merchants, translators, everything. So that's pretty big. And there's a really good movement now. So that's really great for us to work with such a community.
Yeah, it really feels like a community, whereas some other open source systems or platforms are actually more commercial than you would think. Like you can download the code for free, but then if you need some other features, you have to pay an enterprise version, another license fee or something like that. That part of the business, of the current business model of PrestaShop, really makes it feel more open even. And it looks like there is no hidden agenda.
No, exactly. As I said, we try to always be transparent. That's our core value. Like, it's better for everyone. That's why we like open source, and we stay open source because we like that, because we can work directly with your agencies. Your developers talk to our developers regularly, so that's really great for us. That's what we want to keep working on for the next years. Okay, so I guess we talked a bit more than planned about technical aspects. I'm sure that something that you will like more is features. As merchant, you use the software every day, the back office, you know your front office, the stores that your customers visit. And well, it's important to also know that on 1.7, the pillars that I introduced earlier help us to prioritize new features we release. 3 topics I want to talk about today: flexibility, growth, and productivity. That's really something that we want to improve, and we started in 1.7.3 already. That's really the main focus for us on the 1.7 version. I'll detail a bit every topic. About flexibility, PrestaShop has always been flexible because it was open source, because we had a huge community, and we keep working on this direction. I'm sure you're all familiar with the add-ons marketplace. We have more than 3,500 models available for the 1.7 on the add-ons marketplace. We still have 90 built-in models built by PrestaShop that you can install for free when you install PrestaShop at the beginning.
So that's according to you more or less the same as you had in 1.6 or even more?
That's interesting, because for the past years we're approximately equal. Now there is a new trend where like there's as many models available on the 1.7 that there are available for the 1.6.
Okay, so the amount of modules is not a reason to not migrate to
Yeah,
1.7.
no, the thing is, yeah.
If you think there are not enough features or modules, you're not right. That's,
yeah, no, definitely.
There is nothing stopping you from migrating.
Definitely. Yeah. I would say 1 year ago, you could, yeah, that could be a problem. Now today, you find all the models, like you find all the models you need on the 1.7. And there's another trend is that now modules developer tend to develop directly for the 1.7.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of models that were compatible for 1.6 that are also compatible for 1.7. And now you've got a lot more. For the past 6 months, it has been huge. New models that are only compatible with 1.7. So definitely all the features you use on 1.6 or you want to use, you will find them on the add-ons marketplace.
Cool.
That's a really good question, interesting. About visual customization, of course, we also have themes. We have the same trend for themes and for models. So now you've got 3,000 themes available on add-ons marketplace. And something that will more talk to agencies and a bit of technical merchants, we added new hooks. Hooks allows to customize and to add modules directly in front office. So that's a great tool for modules developers, because now they can have offer better modules that increase the number of features you can have in front office. So in the store where you sell the product. So that's pretty good. It's something that we work also a lot on it. And of course, PrestaShop means custom development. We talk about technical aspects and Symfony. What is great is that it helps to do better customization, cleaner code. I don't know if you can talk a bit about that, but there's no, like, we don't need to do overrides as we used to, which allow merchant to upgrade to a new version without breaking anything.
Yeah, since it's better structured than before, than in 1.6, the risk of upgrading are lower. You don't have as many problems as you probably remember from 1.6 to one of another versions.
Yeah. And for here as well, we added some hooks, this time in the back office, to add many models. Let's talk a bit about growth. I know that's we hear this word everywhere. How does that translate to the software? Well, main topic, of course, SEO. We keep working on SEO. We adapt every time. We try to build every time with new version a better shopping experience. We tend to go to what we call a frictionless shopping experience, when you have less steps, when you can go from the catalog to the validation of the baskets faster, with less steps, forms and stuff. So that's there's a lot to come about this one. And of course, I guess it's we are known for that, but international, we have a lot of translated languages, but we also improve the display of prices and currencies. I'll show you. There's a bit of that, because I know growth is not always it's difficult to imagine it works. This is a great improvement that we delivered on the 1.7, the classic theme. Now it's there's also performance improvement, but now you have advanced filters on the category pages, what we call faceted search. It's included natively. We've got a new checkout compared to the 1.6, we call the one-page checkouts. You can see on the right right now. So you don't have different screen. It's everything, sorry, everything on the same screen. And another feature we released not so long ago is the customer reviews. So now with the 1.7 natively built in, you've got customer reviews. And another topic is parent and child theme. Building this new theme, we wanted to give a tool for developers. So when you use a custom theme, you can upgrade from minor version to minor version without breaking anything, which means you have a customized theme on 1.7.5. You can go to 1.7.6 without problem. You will also be able to get the value from the improvement on the classic theme. Talked about international. Here you can quickly see a huge work is to have a better display of the currencies and the price when you change languages. So now if you're in England and you want to see a price in euro, you will have the euro symbol, but it will be displayed as you used to see it in England. And we have that for all the countries and all the currency in the world. So what is it important is that now every customer, every shopper will feel more comfortable going on a shop. It's a lot, it's really important for reassurance. So I guess you will love that. Okay, now let's talk last topic about productivity. We talked a lot about that, Michel.
What we sometimes hear, especially with the older versions, is that it all works. So you can handle all your orders and things like that, but it is not always the best usability as a merchant if you want to work on your orders and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, clearly we had problem with that in 1.6. I guess it wasn't the best. Now in 1.7, what we do is we work on productivity. What we do is we work on user experience, the merchant experience. For that, we work directly with merchants. We do a lot of interviews. Our designers meet a lot of merchants. Our goal behind that is to gain considerable time on repetitive tasks. I'm talking about key pages such as order pages, product pages, carrier pages, all the pages you use on a daily basis. Because every task you do, if you can save, let's say 10 seconds on each task, well, that's a lot at the end of the day. Some preview
saves you some pain on your hands as well.
Exactly. Yeah, and less need to work on the mouse and the keyboard. Here, sneak peek of the new stuff that are going to be delivered on the 1.7. Here we did a huge rework on the orders pages on the list. There was a lot of pain points on this one. Here you can see now we have a preview available directly in this page. We've got a better label management, so you can modify directly the label of the status of the order directly here. Here you can see the preview. Good news, you can right click on the list to open your orders in different tabs, so you can treat them in order. We're really happy to release that. It's going to be available beginning 2020. Order pages still, we reworked the detail of the order, make a better interface, easier to find information, easier to work and to treat a command. So that's just some example of how we think we should improve productivity, and that's something we really want to keep working on. Next coming 1.77 product pages will be improved, carrier pages will be improved, and next we will work on multi-store because we know a lot of you like this feature, so we're going to improve it as well. Okay, I guess that's it for the features. Now we're gonna talk. I said a lot of great stuff about 1.7.7. Most of you are 1.6. So I guess that's time to talk about migration.
Yeah, about migration, because, well, yeah, actually you told everything about 1.7. Why you should step from 1.6, 1.7 really is because of the value of 1.7. Better performance, better user experience. Well, I think the most important thing is more features to come, more improvements to come, because 1.6 is as it is. Most people want to have something that will be better in the future. At least I'm always hopeful. And with 1.6, you know what you have. With 1.7, you already know what you have, but you know it will be better.
Yeah, there's a lot to come.
And very important, the community is really focusing on 1.7. So it's not only extra features, but if you need some help in a few years from now, there are not a lot of experienced 1.6 developers. And I think it's also important that since it's really getting to Symfony for most part of PrestaShop, there are more developers available, because the Symfony development community in the world is way bigger than only PrestaShop.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea. That's the added value of 1.7. I don't want to be rude about 1.6, so I will not. But the most important reason to switch to 1.7, we just told you, well, no new development, less agencies working on 1.6. You will find them still, but then again, less compatible modules available, and especially the security risks. Maybe now a little bit. We can do a check for that, but in the future it will be a thing.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, as there will not be more development on the 1.6, it will stay as it is today. And you can work with agencies, developers that still work on 1.6, but as you said, in the future, if you need something, improve security or else, well, it's going to be more difficult.
Yeah, and security is an issue nowadays. So if you want to be secure, I think migration is the thing to do.
Yeah.
But don't rush it. Don't push the button. Don't go for it without any preparation.
Exactly.
And don't make it bigger than it might feel, because it is going to a new platform.
Yeah.
I can feel the pain. I mean, you have something right now, then you do some work, and then you have something else which might be better, but it does in the beginning. It probably does the same. So don't rush and take the time to prepare. And most of all, not all migrations are the same. If you have a very simple PrestaShop, and that's not a complaint about your shop, it's probably good if you have a PrestaShop using a basic theme, just a few modules, no tailor-made development, just a small catalog. Well, then you use PrestaShop as it is, and in most cases, the migration will be easier. If you just use a migration pro module, what do you think? The module is probably better than the auto upgrade.
Auto upgrade is a built-in module that we deliver directly in PrestaShop to upgrade. It's really good when you go from 1.7.5 to 1.7.6. Now, when you have a catalog, when you have a lot of data because your shop was online for many years, we recommend going to a module that has more features, such as Migration Pro. That's the one we recommend here at PrestaShop because it's really good.
Yeah.
As you said, if you have, because like as we said in 1.6, there was a lot of custom development that was not really clean. So when you try to upgrade, sometimes it breaks and you lose information, data. That's why we don't want you to rush. It's because we don't want you to lose data.
Yeah.
Here, if you have no custom development, just features with a few models, Migration Pro model works perfectly.
Yeah. You can give it a try, but always make a backup.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
Yeah.
Always have a backup plan to get it back. Okay, if you have a more advanced shop, or maybe full custom shop, with another theme or really customized, a lot of connectors, custom code, a big catalog, those kind of things. Unless you have experienced developers in-house, it might be a good idea to see an agency. Can be us, can be somebody else, because there's a huge community of agencies of PrestaShop in all the countries present in this presentation. I believe even Greece and Holland and Germany. So you will find an agency in your own country. We are always happy to help you. But that agency probably has some experience in migration and overcome the risks. What we normally do is we make a migration plan. It's very important to first make an analysis of your current situation. And it might seem a little bit overdone to do a performance and security scan beforehand because you're going to a new platform. So what about performance in 1.6? Why is that so important? Well, actually, it might be not so important, but the idea is that you get something better. So what I feel, it's always good to have a, let's say, a baseline measurement of what you perform right now, and the next version should be better. Otherwise, it's not the version that you would put online. And that is both for performance and security. And sometimes when we do the security scan for 1.6, we find things that we have to take care for the 1.7. Sometimes it's a custom thing. Well, then we take a look at SEO. Not only how do we score right now and then compare it later on after the migration, but also how are your URL structured? Will that be different if you migrate? Do you have very well indexed content pages that we have to get to the new version? If the URLs change, then we might have to put 301 redirects, so Google knows that there is a new direction. So actually, because we don't want to lose traffic, we don't want to lose volume, SEO scan of your 1.6 is very important, and then we make a plan how to keep those results or even make it better. And afterwards, if we put it online, then we do tests again. Did we lose something? Do we have to change something?
I just would like to add, PrestaShop 1.6 and 1.7 are similar. 1.7 is an evolution of 1.6, but as Michel said, if you build something, you spend years on the 1.6 and you want to keep that, it's important to scan to be able to make sure you can reproduce it on 1.7. It's also important to understand that 1.7 gives new tool, new performance, and you can migrate, but it's even better if you can leverage those new tools and this improvement right now at the beginning. So when you do your migration directly at the beginning, you already have a most optimized website possible, and you do most of the web of PrestaShop directly at the beginning. So that's also a big value of the migration, is that you can start better than what you did before, and you don't have then to spend a lot of time optimizing it bit by bit, because you already have experience that you had earlier in 1.6.
Okay, cool. Another thing that we really have to focus on is which features do you use? Okay, the base features are there. Then which plugins did you use? And then we have to check the availability of the plugins. So you don't lose any features. Availability of the plugins in 1.7. Well, as you already told, they're probably there, but this might be the moment to see whether this is actually what you want, or maybe there is even a better plugin to do the same, or more or less the same. One of the biggest risks of migration is connectors with external systems. That might be accountancy system, ERP system, product information management system, even your payment service provider, but all external systems. If you try to migrate without knowing all the connectors that you have, all the APIs that you use from external systems, then you know, well, this is going to be bad. So please take the time, and otherwise we will do it for you, to find out what are all the connectors, and then see what you have to change. Are there plugins? Do we have to do some tailor-made work? maybe there's a new version of the external system as well, and you can migrate it as well. And you really have to plan. This is in most cases for the more advanced shops or the bulk of the work.
Yeah, that's, if we just go back to the other slide, that's for advanced shop with you can have a small catalog, but maybe you use an ERP because you have two different stocks in two different places. Here in this situation, yeah, it's important to have this kind of steps and to take the time to really prepare it. Same for custom shop. If you're a regular shop, of course, it requires less work, and as we said, you can try with a migration promo.
Yeah. Well, design. You probably are very proud of your current design, and you can always rebuild it. Yeah. That tends to take some time, but you can also decide to go for a new template, or maybe it's even the time to get a new, fresh custom design to be totally different. At least you have to decide on that and then plan for it. And last but least, which data do you want to migrate? Because maybe you think, I don't need the orders of the year 97. I have that somewhere else. But you decide what data and what files you want to migrate, and you make your plan. And as a result of that, you have a detailed plan, and you know what kind of work you have to do, and you can decide whether you do it yourself or outsource it. Exactly. If you're not feeling comfortable about doing this, about checking all those things, you can always outsource it to an agency. They should be able to make this plan for you. Yeah. Well, then you do everything. Planning is one, but the next step is to execute the plan. Yeah. What we normally do is we have a kind of development environment, a test development, an acceptance development environment. And at the end, we have the 1.7 version that we think that's the right version. And then you do exactly the same test, the performance and security scan, to see whether it's better. You test whether the URLs are the same. You test whether all the 301 redirects are good. You test the usability. You let your own people work with the backend for a moment before it's live. Maybe you have some friends that don't know about your shop, and you use them as friendly users and see whether they like the design. And very important, check whether the data is going on. If it's all over. Don't forget a full process test, like ordering something and see whether it's going to your ERP system and those kind of things. As a result, you have a checklist, and if everything is well, you have check marks everywhere, and then you're ready to go. Ready to go means that you still have to do the latest synchronization, because you don't want to lose the orders between asynchronization. Then you put a new shop online, and you don't want the orders in between.
Yeah, you don't want to lose them.
And you really have to be sure that the time between the old shop and the new shop is very short. That you don't have two shops online.
Yeah.
If you have to change a DNS, for those people who know DNS record, for those people who know what it is, well, we prefer to do it otherwise, to not change it, but just deploy it on the current DNS. But if you have to change it, make sure that the time to live, that means the time that the internet uses to get to the new server, is very short, not like the standard 24 hours, but just 5 minutes. Yeah, so tips for a successful migration. If you don't know what you want, if you don't define your goals, you don't know where to work on.
Yeah, that's a migration is the occasion to just put everything on paper, take the time, see what's the situation currently, where you want to go, and that's the first tip. Like, write everything, put it on paper, think about it, and then you will see what you need to do next.
Very important. We've seen situation in the past that merchant called and said, "Ooh, I did something wrong," but there was not a fallback scenario. If you have a good versioning system, if you use a acceptance and development and production environment, then you probably have everything in place. If not, think about it. How can you put everything back within a couple of minutes?
Yeah.
If something goes wrong, because if everything doesn't go wrong, you're just happy.
Yeah.
It's like your fire insurance. Until now, nothing burned down in my house, but I'm happy to have the feeling that, well, they can rebuild it at least, not as fast as a normal fallback scenario.
If you have a standard shop without a lot of custom development, if you want to try the migration by yourself, yeah, do the backup. Always have fallback scenarios in the modules we shared earlier. To do the migration, there is always backup that is proposed. Do it on list. If something goes wrong, you just go back, reload the backup, and everything is clean.
Yeah, I already told something about a DNS record. It's just telling you if you have to change the server, then make sure everybody gets to the same server in the shortest amount of time available. This sounds like a open door. The next one.
It's always important to remind them.
If you think you have to migrate a couple of days before Christmas,
yeah,
just on peak traffic, well, okay, we probably don't agree with you. It's very easy to see when there is not a lot of people in your shop. Just use analytics and you see, okay, during the night or during the morning or Sunday morning, 8 o'clock or whatever, there's not a lot of traffic. Let's do it. Let's plan it at that moment. And then if something goes wrong and you have to get back to the old situation, almost nobody knew.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of the most important risks that you can, get lower just by planning it a little bit in advance. I'm very happy that within our company, there are a lot of experts. If I push the button, I don't feel very comfortable. I'm really anxious because I know if I push the button, I put it somewhere else, me myself, I'm not a developer. Then it's just praying, and it depends if you believe if it works or not. But I'm not so sure. So if you don't feel completely comfortable that you do what you do and that you have your backup in place and things like that, then work with an expert, whoever it is.
That's what we always recommend at PrestaShop. Migration, it can sound technical, it can sound sometimes a bit like a big deal, something really risky. It can be for big shop with a lot of custom. It can be. I mean, your store is your business. That's how you do your business. So you don't want it to be broken or to be slow for a couple of days. That's why we always recommend, if you don't feel comfortable, just ask an expert. It can be, okay, you want everything to be done for you, you can ask an agency to do it. You're not sure, you can just contact an agency, a developer, ask him or her some question. Just, plan it. Don't take the risk. It's for 90% of the migration, it works well. It's it's not a big deal. You can almost do everything by yourself. But still, if you don't feel comfortable, just ask question, contact expert. They're happy. And as we said earlier,
it's a little bit like I traveled to Paris. I would be very comfortable doing it in my own car because I have my driver's license. I came by train, however. I'm very glad that there was an expert who's doing that every day.
Exactly.
And you might be a developer, but if you don't do a lot of migrations, it's maybe good to have a second point of view, somebody who has a checklist prepared for you that you can use, that has some experience, like, oh, in this case, really, we saw this in this situation. You should take care of this specific connector or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And as we saw earlier, what's great is that the community is growing, so you will always find a developer that knows 1.7 and who knows how to make migration.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the one of you who have a standard shop with not a lot of, whether you just started working and you started on 1.6 and you want to try the 1.7 or else, or you just have maybe 1 or 2 modules, classic theme or whatever, you can, you have some tools available on Addons Marketplace. We want to help merchants to do the migration. So you will see there are some packs, 3 packs available on the Addons Marketplace, where you've got the Migration Pro module and a theme is included directly in it, and there is a discount on this pack. The same, if you want to give a shot at Migration Pro module, you can try. There is a promo code. Also, if you want to have a look at 1.7, maybe you haven't tested it, there's the demo. The demo is available on the website. When you go to PrestaShop.com directly, you will see a big button, try the demo. You can try it, you can see the interface, you can see how it works, you can see different features. You can also go to Addons Marketplace and have a look at different modules. As we said, once you do your plan, once you listed all the features you use, and you want to look the one you will be able to use on 1.7, you can go on Addons Marketplace, do like a small shopping list, see whatever you need. And of course, agencies can help you to select modules as well. We didn't mention it in big, but yeah, when you do the migration, if your modules or theme is not compatible with 1.7, you will need a new one. So that's why you will always find some discounts on the marketplace with themes for 1.6 merchants that want to migrate.
Yeah. For all those people who are not ready with writing down the promo code, this presentation will be shared afterwards, isn't it?
Yeah. No worries.
So if you missed it,
we'll share the presentation at the end. You will receive it by email, and you will all the links, whether it's for this one or if it's earlier in the presentation, you will get all the links.
Yeah.
Well, we talked a bit more than planned, but I guess that's it.
Yeah.
We still got some time. I can see that a lot of you are still here, so we can start with the question. And so you can use the box on your interface, write down the question. Okay, there's already a lot. We'll try to answer as many as we can. Okay.
What tool do you use for SEO scan? There are a lot of tools in the market. One of them that we really like is Screaming Frog. Yes, that's a screaming frog. So it's a very good tool. It really handles a lot. The thing is, it really takes some performance from your website. Yeah. So don't use it at the busiest moment. Yeah. But Screaming Frog is a SEO tool that we really like. And there are a lot of other tools that are good as well. Yeah. What do you mean with security scan on page 30? I forgot the page numbers, but I do think I know what it is. What we should do is see whether there are any vulnerabilities in your website. If there are availabilities of OWASP problems, mainly things that could help hackers to come in or to get your website down. I think it's a little bit too much to talk about it in detail right now, because, well, you can have a webinar about it. But what we always provide to all our clients is a free scan to begin with, because then we know what to work on.
So I just saw that the promo code does not seem to work. I'll check that. Before I send the presentation, I will make sure everything works. So don't worry, you will receive it. You'll be able to use it.
That's probably the most important question, Fabien.
What is the latest date for migration from 1.6 and 1.7? Well, if I understand well, it's what's the deadline to migrate? well, there's no deadline. Actually, you can stay on the 1.6 for 10 years if you want. The thing is, as we explained, we stopped developing on the 1.6, so you will not get any new features, you will not get any new developments. Of course, we still pay attention to some security that could arise. We still have maintainers, so developers from the community that keep working and check for all the problems about security, mainly on the 1.6, so it's safe to use. But the problem is that
will be safe to use in 10
for
years
the
from
moment,
now?
no. That's the thing, is that there is no deadline, but at some point, now it's fully open sourced, 1.6. So if people stop working on it, there will not be any more improvement on the security. So with the time, and because it's older technologies, it will be easier to not hack, but to have problem on the 1.6. That's why we recommend to start planning a migration for next year. I would say it's good time to start planning. If your 1.6 is working properly, you're satisfied, yeah, don't need to rush. But I would say, yeah, think about migrating by mid of 2020. I would say that's a good thing, especially because there's a lot of good things that are gonna be delivered on 1.7 in the next version. And it's always better if you're there earlier, you have time to get all the new features, to get used to it before it's getting too different from 1.6. Right now, going from 1.6 to 1.7 is easy as a user, as a merchant. So no deadline, but we recommend by 2020, mid 2020. We do plan to have the front office in Symfony. So
that's a question our developers have as well. So
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. That's a technical question. First, right now, so I'll do a technical answer really quickly. Right now, we still keep the theme on the front office on legacy. Legacy is the technology we used before Symfony. Though what we want to do is to be able to go from Smarty to Trig, which requires Symfony. Today, yeah, definitely front office will be migrated to Symfony. Though right now we focus on the back office, and Symfony front office will be the last step in the migration. So yeah, eventually it will. If it's gonna be mid 2020 or end 2020, I can't answer yet, but definitely it's gonna happen.
Okay, and then there's a question with basic theme, few products and no activity yet, no order, no customers. Does the one-click upgrade free module work? Well, my question is, if you don't have any data in your 1.6, it's probably a good idea to start anew, because then you don't have to migrate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can start directly from 1.7. It's available on the, I don't know if you install by yourself or with an agency. If it's an agency, you can contact them and tell them to install 1.7. If it's by yourself, you go on the website, you will find the version available. So yeah, definitely start directly on 1.7.
How about 1.8, same upgrade progress? Breaking changes.
Where is it?
Here.
How about 1.8, same upgrade progress, breaking change? Okay.
Are you planning a PrestaShop 1.8 is maybe the question.
Yeah, 1.8, well,
not yet.
Not yet. Not yet, because there's still a lot of work to do on the 1.7, whether it's on technical side. The goal with 1.7 is to have really something that is robust, stable, that help merchants from different sides, whether you have a small store or you're a big company, to have something that works well with a good performance. To do that, we need to fully migrate to Symfony. We still have some work to do, even though it should be done by mid 2020, early 2020. Then we have features we want to work on. All the productivity stuff I showed you, we want to do it in 1.7. So yeah, 1.8 is not planned for soon. Definitely, at some point we'll have to go to 1.8 to really go one step further. But right now, yeah, it's not soon.
Upcoming years, we don't expect that, is that?
Exactly.
Okay. Is it maybe an idea to have a webinar about security and ways to address it? I do think so, isn't it? Because
that's something that could be, if we have that's something we could, yeah, we could see if a lot of people are interested in it.
yeah,
Because,
there's a lot of things that you could say. At least there's a lot of people fearing things that you don't always have to fear if you just prepare well. So that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there's another interesting question. 1.6.1.24 to 1.7.0 or 1.7 to 0.6. So can I migrate from my 1.6 version directly to the latest 1.7 version, or should I go to the first 1.7 version and then to the next one? I don't think so.
No.
Just go directly
to the letters, because if you go to the 1.7.0, then you will have to upgrade to the 1.7.6. So it's going to be the same. Best is directly to go to the letters. And as we said earlier, that's the occasion to have something that that is better, more powerful than your 1.6. So for that, you want to go directly on the latest 1.7.
So if you migrate right now, directly go to 1.7.6, or if you plan for next year, 1.7.7. It's January, isn't it?
January 2020, 1.7.7.
Yeah, cool.
And then, just for information, we didn't mention it, but then when you go from 1.7.5 to 7.6 and 7.7, then it's really easy. It's just the one-click upgrade, like the usual upgrade stuff. Okay, it's going fast. There's a lot of them.
What is the process to manually transfer your 1.6 customer orders and product tables in 1.7? If you have a lot of customers, orders, and products, I won't do it manually.
No, definitely you want to, yeah. It's I mean, manual transfer, it depends what you mean, because if you mean do it by yourself or with a module and agency, manually, we do not recommend to do migration manually. Use see an agency or use modules that are made for that. It handles transfer directly. How to transfer PrestaShop on 1.6 on 1.7.6?
Can you tell me some good working agencies in Germany? I'm from Holland, so I can't tell, but you are welcome to contact us, or just go to the PrestaShop website, and you'll find all the agencies in all the countries.
Yeah, there's agencies experts page where you can find. I will put the link in the presentation. You can find a list of all our partners agencies, people we work with that know the solutions. So yeah, you will find it on the website.
And then there was something about license. Can Migration Pro be used for multiple websites? Is it
good question.
One license per website?
Good question. That's something we need to check. I would say it's for websites. It's something for. Good question. I can answer now. I don't want to say something that is wrong. Better check. It's available on add-ons, so you will probably get information on the product page on add-ons, and I'm sure the support is really good. It's really the rating is really great. So if you have questions, feel free to ask directly the module developer. For sure, we'll answer really quick.
Then a question, we can have a webinar about it. It's what are the key differences between PrestaShop 1.7 and Magento 2? Whoa, that's a question. Do you have time? Well, okay. Let's try to sum it up. It's both Symfony.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there are a lot of differences.
Exactly.
If to make it very clear, to sum it up, if you want to migrate to Magento 2, you will need a lot of time. Magento 2, I don't say it's a bad system, but it is a platform where you really need a lot of time to implement everything, to migrate everything, to get it work. We've seen migration projects from Magento 1 to Magento 2, and there are a lot of tools to do that. That took 2 years, and people were crying. I can feel the pain. I mean, so Magento 2, I don't say it's a bad system, because it's a well-known system and people thought about it. But we, as an agency, were really investigating whether Magento 2 would be our next platform, and we chose 1.7. Well, we don't have the time to get into all details, but be aware, if you choose Magento 2, it will take you way more time and cost. And especially if you want more features, for instance, B2B kind of features, then you will need the enterprise version of Magento 2, which has licensing fees, and I don't know them by heart because I'm not a Magento partner, but I think it's more than 30,000 euros or 40,000 euros a year. So in the end, you can do the same with PrestaShop 1.7 and Magento 2. The investment in time and or money in Magento 2 will be higher. That's a bigger difference.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, we feel that Magento 2 is no more dedicated to companies with in-house developers who can work every day on the solution to add features customly and everything. That's that's like,
or if you want to make your agency really rich, you should migrate to Magento 2.
Yeah, that will be happy though.
Are you going to share the video from the start for those that were kind of late?
Yes, of
course.
We
are.
Yeah, we're gonna send the video to everyone that registered to the webinar, so you will be able to have everything from the start.
Precise idea of when 1.7.7 will be released.
Okay, so more info about that. 1.7.7, how it works when we release, we do a code freeze, so we stop working on the code. Then we release test versions, what we call a release beta version, then release candidates. It takes between 1 and 2 months time to be sure there's no bug, everything works well. So code freeze 15th of November, release January 2020. There's no precise date. It depends on all the tests we do during the beta test phase, but January 2020.
Yeah. I think we're over time.
Yeah.
3 minutes over time. There's somebody. There's somebody next to us who is really looking at us like, oh, whoa.
Do we have time for the last one? Okay. I'll let you choose the last one.
Choose the last one. Okay. Okay, here. This is an interesting one. Hello, one of the biggest issue as store manager is too often updates that break compatibility with third-party modules and themes. This is a big break for the system. You have to plan to improve this in the future. Well, a couple of things that are really important. In the current architecture and the changing architecture of PrestaShop, which is built on Symfony, that's more modular, there are a lot of measures taken already. It's easier to migrate to a next version. 1.7 to 8.8 will be easier than 1.61 to 1.62. Do I count well? Yes, I do. So in the architecture, it's already better. But then again, you never know with third-party plugins who did it, why they did, etc., etc. So that goes for every system. So always take in account what we told earlier. Check whether it's already compatible. Otherwise, just don't do it. And if it's already compatible, put it on a situation where you can test it without getting your clients unhappy. So if you follow the steps, the migration steps are a little bit more than a normal update, but then again, you should always test before, test afterwards, and check whether all the plugins, all the external connectors are good. That's just part of life.
Yeah, that's I think you said it all. That's how it is. So
thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.